Bella Swan never moved to Forks. When her parents separated, her mother Renee decided to stay in Phoenix, and Charlie, as always, didn't insist. Bella finished high school under the Arizona sun, studying literature, going out rarely, reading a lot. Her life was calm, almost too calm. There was no Edward Cullen, no rain or fir trees, just desert, hot afternoons, and a persistent silence Bella learned to consider normal. College took her to Santa Fe, a small campus, a creative writing program, and finally, an independent life. She began to feel comfortable in her routine. Morning classes, quiet cafes, books read until dawn. The supernatural didn't exist. Not in her world. Not yet. Everything changed on a Thursday, almost ridiculously so. Bella was walking back to her apartment after a night class. The streets were deserted, as always, until she noticed someone following her. A man, tall, silent. When she crossed the street to check if it was paranoia, he crossed too. The fear was immediate, physical. She wasn't easily scared, but this wasn't normal. She quickened her pace, so did he, and just when she was about to run, something happened. A sound, a flash, a blur, and the man following her was gone. Bella froze. Something had happened, something impossible. Hours later, still trembling in her apartment, she couldn't sleep. She tried to convince herself she imagined it, that she was stressed, that the shadow, the flash, the blur weren't real. But then she found the blood stain on her coat, not hers, fresh, and she couldn't explain how it got there. The next day, things got even stranger. Professors seemed distracted. There were murmurs at the university about a wild animal seen nearby, a missing student, extra police patrols, and in the middle of it all, Bella felt like she was being watched. 2 days later, it happened again. A figure at the end of the street, too tall, too still. When she blinked, it was gone. But it wasn't her imagination, because this time, someone else saw it too. "Did you see that?" a classmate asked. Bella just nodded, and that night she started looking for answers. She spent hours online, stories of unexplained disappearances, bodies found without blood, ancient accounts, and one word that kept appearing, disguised as myth, vampire. Bella didn't want to believe it, but something in her chest already knew. The night everything exploded, it rained in Santa Fe, a rare thing. Bella had gone out to find her friend Jen, who wasn't answering her phone. She found her at the edge of campus, alone, motionless, with a figure in front of her, pale, smiling, eyes red like liquid fire. "Hello, Bella," said the vampire without moving. "I've finally found you." She didn't respond, didn't even scream. She just ran, but the figure appeared in front of her in a breath. "Don't be afraid. I don't want you dead. Not yet." His voice was soft, almost sweet. "Who are you?" Bella gasped. A message, a lure, a warning. And then she understood. She wasn't an accident. She was a target. Something about her drew these creatures, and without the Cullens, without wolves, without anyone, she was alone. When she woke up, it was in her bed. Jen was alive. She didn't remember anything. Everything seemed like a bad dream. But in the mirror, Bella saw something that hadn't been there before. A mark, small, like a scratch at the base of her neck, and a whisper that wouldn't stop echoing in her mind. "We'll see each other soon, Isabella Swan." And so, in a city where nothing was ever supposed to happen, Bella Swan became part of a world she never sought, with no help, no allies, just her mind, her instinct, and the certainty that the worst had only just begun. Bella tried to return to normal. She went to class, she read, she smiled when she was expected to. But inside, something had changed, as if a door had opened within her, and now she could hear echoes of a world that had always been there, lurking. And every night, the mark on her neck burned. It didn't heal. It didn't fade, as if it were a promise or a mark of ownership. A week later, another student disappeared. This time, they didn't find the body, only a blood-stained wall. And the cameras turned off just before it happened. Bella wasn't the only one who noticed, but she was the only one who understood. "They're playing with me." She decided to run, not out of cowardice, but because she didn't want to bring death to those she loved. She left her apartment, didn't tell anyone, just drove north without a plan, a backpack on her shoulder, and a single word in her mind: Forks. She didn't know why, only that something inside her called her there. A childhood memory, a feeling, as if the answer was in that town of endless rain and deep forests. But she didn't make it. In the Oregon mountains, under a heavy storm, her car skidded off the road. She hit her head. She woke up in a wooden cabin. and in front of her, with a tense expression, as if unsure whether to hug her or run, was Alice Cullen. "I knew you'd die if I didn't find you," she said. Bella blinked, dazed. "Alice?" The vampire nodded, a brief smile on her face. "You're caught in something much bigger than you understand, and no one can help you but me." Bella sat up slowly. "Why now? Why you?" Alice looked down. "Because I saw a possibility, a vision that shouldn't exist. I saw a Bella Swan without Edward, without us, without protection, and I saw that you survived." Bella frowned. "Survived? Yes, but not as a human." Silence thickened. Bella felt her heart racing. "You mean? I don't want to say it, but someone else does." Then Alice looked her straight in the eyes. "Someone marked you, not to kill you, to change you." Bella remembered the red eyes, the voice, the mark. "Who?" Alice didn't answer, but her face hardened. "There's a coven in Europe, one that experiments, that tracks certain human bloodlines with special potential. Ancient blood, very ancient. What does that have to do with me?" "You, Bella, you're not just any human." And in that moment, a new image appeared in Bella's mind. Herself, standing over a dark city, red eyes glowing, surrounded by shadows that bowed to her. And a phrase that wasn't hers but echoed inside. "Power is not chosen, it's inherited." Alice stood up. "We have to go. They already know I found you." Bella looked out the window. Snow was falling slowly. The mark on her neck burned, and something inside her, something not entirely human, awakened. Maybe it was already too late to turn back. Maybe, without Forks, without Edward, without the story that should have been, this Bella Swan was meant to become something else. And this time, she wouldn't run. This time, she would fight.